YouTube says I'm not allowed to do dangerous things, you know.
It's your fault, Josh. I have to kiss that mouth later.
I was drinking hot sauce, Pat. He's okay, everyone! Not dead.
Yet.
Pat, the hottest man in the West. So toasty. I will live to regret this. And this is the danger of recording in batches, everyone. Because you gotta live with your choices in the previous episodes. Woo woo! Alright. It is the spookiest of seasons, everyone. Well, you know, at least if you live in the Northern Hemisphere and celebrate the seasonal calendar that they have. For us down here at the bottom of the world, it's springtime, which makes the whole Ghosty Ghoulie festival feel a little out of place, and most of us don't really celebrate it outside of childhood, but nonetheless, to help you poor Northern Hemisphere folks tumbling headlong into winter, I've got another seasonal beverage for you. This is Bottle Bottom with Paddy, the cocktail show where Paddy attempts to do a cocktail episode with his mouth literally on fire. So today we're working with another one of those eternal problems. You're running low on spirits, but you've got all this wine. Maybe it lives in a box. Maybe it just appeared in your house for reasons you don't completely understand. But you have the wine. So I'm going to be exploring something of a wine boilermaker. Yeah, I know, it sounds pretty strange, but here at Bottle Bottom, once again, we are sticking to the two rules. I have not bought any more booze, and I am most certainly suffering. So, yeah, rule 1, no more booze. Rule 2, watching yourself up, the usual. So I think I've actually got a reasonable foot to stand on in terms of the Bottle Bottom challenge. So, you do not see a great number of wine-based cocktails. In truth, the only one I can think of is the Jaded Lady, which you can't really taste the wine. I mean, that's a Sauv Blanc in a melange of absinthe and vodka and all sorts of other bad ideas. So, even then, though it is normally a wine-based cocktail, I don't know if it really has much of the wine coming through. So I worked in my own head. I had a bit of a ponder as to how we could get this to work. And something popped up, which is a very, and you know, I will often riff on a cocktail in my own mind, and it'll be, I will say, you know, it's maybe inspired by or descended from X cocktail, but really has absolutely nothing to do with it. I found one called a Rye Witch, which is usually a big batch one that they tend to enjoy in the American South. You know, just a load of rye whiskey, sherry, and like dark aperitifs. So that's what we're working with. That's at least the palette that we're working with. And we're going to have you a dark and stormy witch for Halloween. So what we have here is an Avoca, well, Victorian Pyrenees, if you're not local, Shiraz. Syrah, if you're not local, or from South Africa. If you are from South Africa, you will probably know what Shiraz is. They do not make Shiraz in Shiraz anymore. Shiraz is a city in Iran, and apparently they were once quite famous for their Shiraz wine, but, you know, they don't really make that these days. So Shiraz trade is basically confined to Australia and South Africa. Everyone else calls the grape Syrah. I hope I'm saying that right. It could be Syrah. Sweeter? Anyway. It's a medium-bodied red with a peppery body and a clean finish. So, those are the things we can chase. We'll have a solid fruit note, bit of tannin, and a good bit of pepper, but not too much weight in the body, and we're going to use our other ingredients to round that out. So, this is a glass. You may have seen one before. I know I have. It's not, oh boy. It's been a night.
What's the history of glasses, Pat?
It's like, well, let me tell you a story about ancient Sumeria. But no. So, our basic idea, and riffing once again on your Boilermakers, on your sort of, well, you know, cocktails that are usually built to be upscaled to have at a big family event, a barbecue, Halloween party. What do people do at Halloween? Summon their dead relatives. A necromancy party! Yes, that's what it is. I don't know, what do you do at Halloween? So a little something for your necromancy party. I'm gonna go sort of standard pour. of our vino. Now, as I said, you do not see a great many wine-forward wine cocktails. And this is why the idea intrigued me. I'm going to have a bit of a muck around with that. So as the Rye Witch did, I do not have any rye whiskey. And certainly not in the quantities that that cocktail would demand. However, I do have a herbal, well, it's a digestivo really. Chinar, for those playing along at home, is an Amaro. It's not an Amaretto. Do not make that mistake. It will get you into trouble. Your Amaros are primarily bitters and are used as aperitifs or digestifs around the Mediterranean. Now, Chinar is made out of artichoke leaves. That is going to be completely irrelevant, but ultimately it's an earthy, sweet kind of flavour. I think this will earth our wine rather nicely. So, you know what? It's Boilermaker Town. I'm going to give this a full measure. Because why not just go whole hog with our more obscure ingredients? Now, Paddy, it's an interesting idea that you would absolutely obliterate your sense of smell before attempting a fly-by-wire improvised cocktail, but... Okay, I see what you did there. Some would argue that I could taste the thing, but I don't know if that's really going to work.
Do you need a nose?
I'm going to chase further with my earthy notes. Once again, we're going in with our Isla Scotch. Because Pete is the great leveller. Sorry, Pete. It's been a while since I've seen you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And that's going to give us a bit of punch, a bit of fire. So, with the wine sort of handling our highs, we've got that fruit, we've got that pepper, and we've got a bit of, the sort of high, lively notes. The Chinar is primarily giving us texture. We've got that nice, rich, smooth, kind of earthy Amaro, mouth coating, a sort of creamy kind of texture to it. And then we've got the whiskey to provide lows, fire, and earthing. So, this could easily be scaled up to be, a big jug of cocktail if you wanted it to be. But for now we have standard pour of wine. Edit in what that is, Paddy.
One standard drink?
Don't just pour it blind. A glass of wine, a shot of Chinar, and a half measure of a peaty scotch. So let's see how this goes. Ooh, it's got plenty going on, but I feel like it might need a little something extra. I suspect that the extra might just be salt. But once again, my explorations of savoury cocktails continue. I have this image in my mind of essentially just making a big bowl of ramen and putting it in like a martini glass and letting people cope with that. But I dream, kids. It's, it's something. I'm going to send this over to Magic Josh, see what he thinks.
Ooh, yeah, that adds a lot to the wine.
Mm.
It's really earthy.
Yeah. It's a need more high. My instinct to just throw citrus at problems is sort of coming through. So I'm gonna give it a little lemon juice to maybe give it a boost. Because what we got at the moment, I think, is an overabundance of earth. Which isn't bad, if you're drinking a peaty scotch, there's probably a reason you're doing that. But in this case, we want something that's a little more lively for our festivities. Now, I could shandy it too. I have this jug of soda water here in a pinch. That could absolutely work, but I think this might have done it. So half measure of lemon juice. We'll see how we... Oh, that's opened it right up, yep. Now I'm getting fully medicinal. Before you know it, I'm going to be shoving like lengths of sage and egg whites into this nonsense, but no, that has actually cracked that wide open. This is often something that happens when you're flying by wire, but it's like, if you don't know what it's going to taste like, what do you even do? You just throw things at things until they're other things. Yeah. Now that livens up the wine nicely. It's sort of a quick and dirty way to be mulling your wine, I think. Gives it that little extra, and obviously it is a great deal more alcoholic now. But yeah, it gives it a rather fantastic depth of flavour. I think the lemon juice is almost compulsory. So what we have here is standard pour of wine, half of whiskey, half of Chinar, and half of lemon juice. But that does give you something that's rather nice and dark and stormy, so...
So if it's not a rye witch, what kind of witch is it? Is it if it's peaty, it's a bog witch?
Bog witch, yeah. Swamp hag?
Swamp hag.
Very good. It's been a rather swampy little collection of cocktails this evening, but one little swamp hag for you, my infernal legions. Thank you for following along, folks. I hope you have enjoyed this accidental Halloween episode here at Bottle Bottom with Paddy. If you would like to hear more of my dulcet tones, you can usually find me lurking around liberationindustries.net. Or you could subscribe to the YouTube. I've heard there's a button. You could also send us money in a brown paper bag to allow me to afford a cocktail shaker. Special thanks once again to Magic Josh and Heckling Liz in the audience. It's been great having you in the studio tonight. With that, cuddle up with your swamp hag and have a wonderful Halloween.